So, not once in history has a stock gapped up out of huge momentum and not corrected itself shortly after. What's going on, team? It's Ricky with TechBud Solutions. I'm going to be sharing my screen with you so you can see exactly what it is that I'm looking at. So, as of right now, there's so much momentum with BBBY. I'm sure a lot of you guys should be made well aware that this is also a stock that falls under the meme stock category. There was a small announcement that was shared today, but beyond that, I feel like it's just now momentum that's following through with it. Now, first, the question that we get all the time is like, can you make money trading something like this? 100%. When direction is in your favor, it doesn't matter what any indicator says. I mean, price action and direction are always what's most important. There's no break of pattern right now. We're still holding above the EMA line. I changed mine to 45, so it validates these pullbacks a little bit more. And if you're day trading this, all power to you. It makes sense when direction and momentum are in your favor. This thing can continue to rally. My concern is for all those beginner traders that have no plan. This thing will come to an end. It's a fact. There's never once in history that these things don't come to an end. So if you don't have an exit plan, if you don't have a trailing stop loss, if you don't have a stop loss or any form of risk management, I can guarantee you that you will lose money. It's that simple. That's why they consider these pump and dumps to be so risky. Now, the way that I would view this, right, is if there's a break of pattern for or at below EMA, I would just get out to play it safe. This thing can sell off, it could pull back, it could always begin to recover once again, but you have to have some criteria that an opportunity meets for it to be something worth taking advantage of, right? And I think this is where when you limit yourself, this should be things that you take into consideration of like, if this thing actually begins to make lower lows and lower highs below EMA, it's then asking yourself that question of like, why am I still holding? Direction is no longer in my favor. Momentum is no longer in my favor. And then, the pattern is now broken. Now there's more selling pressure than there is buying pressure. And that's where those big pullbacks happen. This thing can continue to run up. And again, I don't want to limit this in the sense of like, oh, it's at $28. This thing has to crash to 50. No, this thing could go to 35. This thing could go to 40. As long as momentum and direction are in its favor. But as soon as this thing begins to trade sideways, as soon as it begins to get choppy, as soon as it begins to indicate signs of selling pressure, that is where the momentum will begin to be lost. Because at that point, people begin to lose money, and that's where the panic selling comes in. All I'm here to remind you is if you intend to trade something of this caliber of risk, there's huge reward. I'm not minimizing that. Just do it effectively. Make sure that you have a plan, a trailing stop, a stop loss, some form of risk management where you can keep some of those profits in your pocket. If you have that mindset where like, I'm going to hold to the moon, I wish you the best of luck. But all I know is every single time anyone ever says that, the stock ends up pulling back shortly after. It's not that it has to pull back today. It's not that it has to pull back tomorrow. But at one point or another, if you have no exit plan, it will come to an end and you'll end up giving back everything that you gained. So it's not about being perfect. You'll never be perfect. The trade will never be perfect. It's just about staying calculated, right? And you can do this with risky plays and you can do this with more conservative plays. So I just want to make sure that for some of our beginner traders watching, I hope that even just some of you approach this in a more calculated way. I'm not choosing to trade it. It's too risky for me. It's just not my cup of tea, but I respect it. I respect it in a way that I know other people can make money, and I hope that you do, right? If you choose to trade it. Overall reversal, we were seeing some selling pressure. Now we're pretty much at that break even for Apple. Apple has nearly made a full recovery. I'm not too sure if you guys have been paying attention to this, but Apple previous highs were at 182. Now it's trading at 173, less than $9 away from previous all-time highs, and that's when Apple had a $3 trillion market cap valuation. Wanted to also remind you guys of the different things that are set to be announced tomorrow that are quite important, right? So we have the retail sales for auto, and then tomorrow we also have what it shows to be FOMC minutes. So this is something that I have to follow up with to see if it's actually going to take place tomorrow. It shows 2 p.m. And if so, I would be more than happy to live stream it on my channel. All you have to do is drop a thumbs up on this video and let's make it happen, right? I just want to make sure enough people show up. So if you can get this video to about 1,000 to 1,500 likes, Let's host that live stream tomorrow, and let's see what ends up being talked about tomorrow and how the market reacts. That's going to be 2 p.m. Eastern time, so please be aware of that. But yeah, quick little shift of direction. It was very easy to see. This is almost like a textbook reversal. We announced this within our Learn Plan Profit group where we were making lower highs, lower lows. There's a lot of selling pressure on the overall market, and then guess what? We began to trade sideways. Trading sideways is indication of a support. It's never guaranteed, but it's indicating that, hey, we potentially have hit a bottom. And then guess what? We now begin to make higher highs and higher lows above the EMA. That's confirmation of a reversal, right? If you're part of my LPP group, we always talk about this, the 3 stages of a reversal: rejection, consolidation, and then confirmation. And that's exactly what we have right now. Now we're at pre-market highs, so my job is just to make you aware of where we currently stand based off of previous resistance levels, and that we could see some selling pressure here before we continue to make new highs. So it looks like it's a pretty choppy day today, especially if you're under the PDT rule. At least for these traditional stocks, it might be a day worth holding back if you think that direction is not as clear as expected. So if you have any questions, I hope that you know that I'm always one direct message away, and that's going to be via Discord, and that's that first link in the description. And if you want to watch me trade live as soon as tomorrow, then make sure you click that second link down below. And there it goes. We are retesting previous highs of right around 38.90. So excited to follow up and see which way we end up going. So like always, let's make sure that we end the year on a green note. Take it easy, team.